and then how many people are thinking, for example, services? Like I'm in the service space, for example. What about you, Cass? Are you? Product? Okay, brilliant. Like,
I wouldn't limit myself, but obviously first place will be product.
Okay, perfect. And the new lady, what's your name? Eva. What am I saying? Sorry. Oh, what I meant to ask was that I hadn't asked you something, rather. As in, is there an idea that you have in your mind at the moment?
Well, no.
Don't worry. I still feel like that a lot of the time anyway.
I work too much, so when I come back at home, I don't have time to do.
Well, hey, listen, people are like, oh, you must be really clued up. I was like, I tell people, I'm like, mate, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. so I totally concur. Okay, brilliant. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. What's your name?
Gotham.
Yes. Oh, cool. We got another cool name. Gerson. Yes. Okay. And I've already forgotten. Dan. Gotham. Where are you from?
India. How do you remember? From India.
Okay. Brilliant. Are you? So we've had someone fly in from India.
Yeah.
From Italy, Colombia. Motherfucking A. I feel like the man right now. Okay, brilliant. Okay. So we'll start in basically a couple more minutes. So what we'll go through to give you a sense of some of the things I'm going to be talking about is we'll initially just talk about what I consider to be the turning point that made me decide that, hey, come in, sit. I'm about to ask you a bunch of awkward questions. It's going to be great. What's your name?
Natalie.
Hey, Natalie. Where are you coming in from today?
From work.
Okay, cool. So local. Yeah. Damn. You don't know what just happened. I was like, say somewhere like far. We've had like India, Colombia, Italy, Fulham. Okay, yeah. Brilliant. Oh, we've got a local resident here as well. Also, how about yourself, sir? What's your name? Kim. Okay, perfect. Where are you from, Kim?
From London.
Good man.
Originally from Finland.
I'll take that, Finland.
Give you another feather for your cap.
Awesome. Yeah, guys. Sorry. So, does anyone want some water? Yeah. Let's. You know what? Fenner, do you want to help? Just maybe. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Super. Perfect. So. Cool.
Does anyone else want water?
Brilliant. Yeah, guys, go now.
Already done.
Yeah, nice. He's like, already done. Gonna be peeing in 5 minutes. Oh, brilliant.
It's like a new camera. 5 minutes. Yeah, it's there.
Okay, no one else?
Last call. From here, you're not allowed water, so make it count.
£5,000 per glass from now on.
Exactly. You're like, you're gonna need to sell me harder than that.
That's mainly for video, even though I use it. But it's called.
But you know what? Let's start. You can maybe close the door. I think so. And if you see anyone hovering,
Yeah.
Cool, guys. So hello, of course. So I'm Deepak. You, of course. Is anyone here not from the kind of meetup? Okay, cool. So you came here on the premise, of course, of wanting to learn how to build a business, ultimately bootstrap, in particular, from starting with a £100 budget and getting it to a space where you can develop some level of recurring revenue and, of course, profit. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So in terms of the things that we're going to go through, I'll initially talk about what I think for me was a turning point kind of in my life where I thought, fuck, this isn't where I want to be and that needs to change. So we'll start there, and then we're going to talk about what you can see probably on my left, your right, which is a couple of pages that I'm going to swing through. So we're going to be talking a little bit about mindset. Then we're going to go into the kind of meat and bones of it, of course, which is the kind of strategy and tactics that probably everyone's looking for, like, give me the PDF, Deepak, give me the roadmap that I can exactly follow. So we'll be going through basically some of that in line with how you can practically get on that road. Perfect. So I think that my story really starts, to be honest with you, in 2012. My lovely partner, Daniela,
Hi.
the lady at the back, we moved rather from, or she moved a bit further away from Italy, and I moved from Heathrow to a place called Northolt, basically, in West London. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been there. It's not the prettiest of places, and I think that, really simply put, she came and we came together on the premise that things, we're going to build a life for ourselves. And at that time, just as I still have now, I had aspirations that, I'm going to go into all this great stuff and we're going to do this and do that. And I think that the reality, we were renting from my cousin, AJ. He owns a place in Northolt, and we're paying 400 quid a month basically to rent a room with a double bed. And I was going to live with my cousin. As it turned out, upon the first day of Daniela arriving, within a couple of weeks, my cousin's house had been robbed whilst they were sleeping upstairs. So the downstairs was robbed. Thankfully, the place is a dump, so they didn't really rob much, but the place was robbed. My cousin, he's a twin, VJ, he was also living there, so the twins were living there. Three Indians, all the same family, very Indian, it was brilliant. He was also mugged, kind of walking from the station to the house, and we were living next to a huge estate, and that kind of was the life that kind of I really, without thinking, had walked into. And I had aspirations of starting a business. I had a lot of ideas. I was trying to put them into action. But I think really the reality was that we were getting basically a bus, the 207 bus from ultimately Northolt to Uxbridge every day, and Daniela was working in a job that she hated, cold calling, and I was kind of contracting with my uncle's business 2 days a week, and on the side trying to make a company, a tutoring agency, Gobsmackers. You could still look up the gravestone of it online and you'd find some old bit, hey guys, welcome to Gobsmackers. We weren't making any money. So that was kind of where we were. And then, the reality was financially, I think that, there came a moment where we were both kind of getting a bus to head to the job centre, basically. Daniela had got fed up with her work, and I'd kind of given her a kind of promise, as a man, as we men do, I'm going to take care of business. I was not fucking taking care of business at all, right? And she had left her work, and I had left consulting for my uncle's business for 2 days a week, and my agency, Gobsmackers, tutoring agency, was not doing it, and we both were on our way to the job centre in Ealing, and we were, for a short period at least, struggling to pay rent to my cousin, £400 cash in hand, and I would try and make things work by going out and flyering. I'd go to parkopedia.com, I'd get my flyers, and I'd go put flyers on the windscreens in car parks. So I'd go to like Harrow car park, I'd go to Ealing Broadway car park, and I'd get thrown out of car parks about an hour after getting in, when security would approach me and say, excuse me mate, are you the guy that's flyering? And I'd say, oh yeah. They'd be like, okay, cool. Can you remove all your flyers? Otherwise we're going to report you to the council. Can you not come back? Thank you, bye. And that's led me to quickly not flyering very much anymore. And I think I remember being on the bus once on the way back from such a circumstance and kind of crying a little bit to myself, really. I was like, wow, I've bought someone that I love from Italy and a beautiful home to a place here in London, in Northolt, and I was being forced to go to the job centre. And between us, you get, I think, £70 a week, so it's like 480, 500 quid between us, plus the little bit of money I did make from the tutoring that we did do. We were making less than maybe £800-900 between us, so it was like every penny counted, and that was the moment, right? That was the moment for me where I was like, fuck, I have to turn things around, because my finances were broken, my relationship was breaking, and I felt a little bit broken, like, oh wow, it's not It's not worked out the way that I wanted to. So that leads me to that moment where I realized that the only thing that was really ever going to change things for me actually was that. I thought, well, what's the answer? Is the answer that I go back and get a job? Well, fuck no. That's the life that I tried to leave behind. So then I'm going to end up a year down the road being in that same position where I'm like, well, I've got a job and the world's going to tell me that it's okay, don't worry, you need to pay your bills, well done, and I'm going to maybe get comfortable, or I'm maybe going to become therefore I'm going to become fearful of taking a leap. And you know what? I'm already in pain anyway. It's already hurting. What was all of this for? Why not keep going? And that's the biggest central part for, I think, what's helped me on my journey, and that, you know, I offer to you in terms of what you need to really build to go to that, you know, next level. You know, at the moment, Paula, you're probably a little bit fearful because, as you said, you know, your company has decided to stop this remote working environment and to bring everything in-house. And it's very natural. I'm sure the world's telling you, it's okay, go get another job, you'll be fine. Is that something that people have been saying to you?
They haven't actually, no.
Oh, okay, brilliant. Would you imagine that it's something that people would begin saying to you at a certain point in time?
Yeah, probably. I don't want to. I mean, I will have to go down that route, but obviously I'd like to do. I just got so used to working at home and my own hours and that.
Absolutely. And it's that freedom. It's that freedom that comes, right? And to build that freedom that I was trying to build, I realized that, well, Deepak, you're just going to have to start executing more. You're going to have to just double down, work harder, do more maybe of the same stuff, and try and do more of some different stuff. Because one of the biggest things also is that sometimes strategies aren't wrong. Most people don't give strategies the time of day to discover if they're not wrong. So as I was saying to you, Kaz, there was that day where I came back and I quickly stopped flyering. I remember being on the bus and crying a little bit. The next day I went out and I started doubling the amount that I was flying. I was like, Deepak, it's been fucking like 2 weeks of you doing this. That's not enough data for you to really know if this actually works or not. You're just hearing the call of this is painful, stepping out is painful, telling my family I'm going to start a business, but actually I'm on job seekers allowance is painful. Like, the action isn't wrong, because it was sensible. I mean, if I flyer on family cars in car parks, it's quite a novel way to receive a flyer. You don't often receive flyers for tutoring, so you might look at it and be like, oh, I'm not used to receiving this, and I'm not used to receiving a flyer in a car park. By the time I got thrown out of a car park, about 30% of those flyers had already been taken by the cars, because most people go in, do their shop, come out, find the flyer, and I was beginning to get a couple phone calls. But then suddenly life starts doing stuff and you start ignoring the data. And then suddenly you stop executing. Right? So what I put to you is that you already have lots of course, ideas and things that you've tried, right? Everyone here has tried an attempt to try and sell their high ticket product, or to try something involving automation, or to try whatever it is we've tried. And one of the things that you need to really ask yourself is, have you actually given that the time that it needs? And have you tested it robustly? Have you gone out to enough? And you know, think about whatever it is in your mind, right? Because I know still today that I'm guilty of not putting enough effort into the areas in which I execute. I'll just be like, oh no, that doesn't work. I'll be like, you know, when you hear people say Facebook advertising doesn't work, really? Okay, well what happened? Well, I tried it once and it didn't work, so therefore it doesn't work, and that's my data. And this is how oftentimes a lot of us kind of go about the world, right? We try something once, and then we assume that because it didn't work and we weren't a success, well, you know, we need to all wake up and smell the roses and realize that executing is the single biggest thing that's going to take you to your success on whatever journey that you're on. And testing aggressively and consistently and robustly enough to really say that, Deepak, I tried Facebook ads for 3 months. I tried 16 different funnels. I've also tried the consultant. I tried hiring someone. I'm going to show you exactly what I've done, so you can tell me if there's anything else that I could do that I don't even know that I'm not doing. And this is the approach that we really need to take to life. And at that time, I began to realize that what I need to really do is I need to start split testing life. I need to just try so many things at such an aggressive level that something is going to work. Something out there is going to bloody make me my money. Does that make sense? So then what I started doing is I thought, okay, I want children to be my ideal student, so I need to target their parents, and children will be the consistent means of income because they'll be like, right, I'm gonna have you from year 7, I'm gonna take you through all the way to year 10. My son Charlie's got a math problem. Deepak, you sound lovely, and then I'll try and find tutors and I'll try and figure stuff out. So the next step, and this is where we go on to talk about, the next step was really, how can I scale this? I know that flyering does work, but it works quite slow. And I have a wonderful woman that I'm in a relationship with, and my bills are not going to get paid at the rate at which this business is going to grow if I just fly her alone. Does that strike a chord with everyone when you really think about the number of things that you've tried? Of all of the things out there, you probably tried less than 10% of all of the strategies that exist. There's like innumerable strategies that do exist that can really help us with our businesses, but the reality is if we, and that's what I did. I began to audit what I was doing. Deepak, what are you doing? You're flyering. Cool, what else are you doing? You're talking to people about it. Okay, cool, so that's 2 strategies. Is that enough? Actually, fuck no. That's really not enough at all. What do you want to do? I want to give up. What's the alternative? It's job seekers allowance, or it's a role in corporate governance, getting a salary, and somewhere 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, being 30, being 40, being 50, and realizing, fuck, this isn't, how did I get here? This isn't what I want with my life. So the second thing that I began to do is, I thought, where online can I maybe, see if this thing works. Where online can I maybe find more of my potential clients? The first place that I looked was this place. I was like, oh, well, everyone's got a Gumtree. Why don't I try putting an ad up on Gumtree saying, hey guys, I'm a tutor. I'd love to, help you and kind of all of this stuff. And the second thing I did almost immediately was, well, Gumtree can't be the only place, can it? What else, or where else are all of the other platforms that I could potentially, potentially find some of my wins from, right? That was the question that I began to ask myself. So then, immediately, I began to Google Gumtree alternatives. So like, freelancers list on Gumtree. And then I thought, freelancing websites. And then I thought, freelancing alternatives. And then within 15 minutes, literally, that was how long it takes to run a Google search like that, right? I found all of these blog posts and it blew my mind how lazy I was being. I was just working really hard, getting on a bus with my flyers. My amazing, they were really nice flyers, by the way. Getting my trusty flyers and going and putting them on a car. 4 days later, I get a phone call and I was like, wow, this is working. And I began to kind of analyze, well, how long did it take me to actually put an ad on Gumtree? It took me about 15 minutes. How much did it cost? Oh, it must be expensive. Had I tried? Well, no, but putting an ad must be expensive, right? I tried. An ad cost me £7. That same week, I got 3 phone calls. So I spent 15 minutes and £7, which is less than the amount of bus rides that cost me for the week. That cost me about 10 hours of time and probably about a year of emotional fucking integrity because I kept getting chucked out of car parks all the time. And I was like, oh my god, this is fucking soul destroying. So I then began to really aggressively start listing myself on absolutely every bloody freelancing platform that I could. And my eyes began to open up as to all of the things I hadn't been doing. Does that make sense? All of the things that I had not capitalized upon, all of the things that I maybe heard someone else tell me a story about, Gumtree's no money on Gumtree, mate. Gumtree's where I buy like my second-hand car, mate, but I wouldn't get that from there because it's dodgy. Oh, well, Fiverr's like just full of people that are from developing economies and they're trying to rip you off. And I was like, well, what I quickly discovered was that I'd been acting based upon other people's assumptions, and I never gathered data for myself. I never gathered any of the data for myself and really done something and been like, well, how do you know? Have you tried it? You're like, well, no, but my mate Ricky. Why am I asking someone else who's also broke, who isn't making any money, who hasn't ever listed on the platform, and then I'm falling foul of other people's ideas about what will work, also what won't work? So that was really enlightening to me when I realized that I have to split test everything that I do. I have to work as hard as I was working, harder, but I have to work way more intelligently than I was working because I hadn't gathered enough of the data points to truly say that I'd really ever tried. I was willing to kind of give up upon that. My uncle was like, you can come work for me full time, come and sit in the office, we'll do a 9 to 5, I'll pay you 1,500 quid, we'll do, start there, all of that kind, the kind of cycle that you get into. And then there's that danger, or there's that really, where you just say, okay. You say, okay. And you get further and further away from the place that requires massive motherfucking action taking, right? None of this stuff is hard out there. It's just hard in here. Who here has ever freelanced? Perfect, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, perfect. So if you have freelanced, put your hand up again. Perfect. If you've thought about, keep your hands up, everybody keep your hands up. Up high, there you go. And Tanya's like, fuck, I need some more water. You're not allowed, it's 5 grand. Perfect. Who has ever, keep your hands up, who has ever thought about freelancing as an initial means of starting their business? Right. Who agrees, keep your hands up now, who agrees if you want to start a product-based business, that it would probably be simpler if you had your own business running that was your own service-based business to help you fund your product-based business? Who agrees that that might be sensible? Keep your hands up. Perfect. So, oh no, you put your hand down. You are the special one. I'm going to talk to you. You got to tell me what you know, my friend. So, everyone who's got their hand up, please keep their hand up. Right, this is what we're going to do. Keep your hand up if you have ever listed your profile on Upwork. Okay, 3 people. Keep your hand up if you've ever listed your profile on People Per Hour. Okay, we've still got 2 people. You're doing really good. Keep your hands up if you've ever put an ad out on Gumtree. It's including all of those things. I'm winning. Put your hands up if you have done all of these things. All of them. So guys, I ask you, genuinely in the nicest way, what the fuck are you doing? Does it make sense why I say that? Does it make sense that we fail ourselves by not operating at the level that we truly can? And that was my discovery when I was on the bus back home and I was kind of crying to myself because I was on job seekers allowance and I couldn't afford for us to have any level of the life that we wanted. And that was really my kind of breakdown moment when I realized no one's coming to help you. This is it. People are actually going to unwittingly sabotage what you're trying to achieve when they whisper those things to you. Just get a job to sort things out, and Gumtree doesn't work. Gumtree's full of people that've got no money. What are you doing? You don't want to do that. Oh, it sounds complicated, listing a profile. 4 months later, that business was earning £12,000 per month. We ultimately moved to Italy because that's where she's from. And it was Italy's cup. We had a place, Via Vanchiglia was where we lived, and we changed our life. And sometimes what it takes is having that moment of realization and realizing, wow, I had all the answers actually anyway, but I wasn't executing upon them, right? And that was why it was the first step that I spoke about, that execution matters more. The thing that probably separates, only today, right, momentarily separates me from what any of you have done, is that I have just worked on that muscle, the execution muscle. That ability to say, yep, I've tried that robustly, yep, I've tried that. You know what, wow, Gumtree worked for me amazing. Who would have known? Who knows from this list what might work massively for any of you? Kaz might absolutely kill it with Angel.co. I've got a friend, Ragav, he makes 6 figures from Angel.co. I've tried that platform fucking aggressively, I've failed at every attempt. He has never made any money from Upwork. I've made 6 figures from Upwork. The only way we can make those discoveries, though, if we try all of these things for ourselves, right? And what I mean to say by that, there's not going to be one formula that I'm going to give any of you that's going to work, right? Because that's just life. So that's saying this is the perfect fucking pizza. The amount of arguments I get into with Daniela about her favorite pizza, my favorite pizza, I still like Domino's sometimes, or pizza, and she's like, oh my God, what are you doing? This isn't a pizza. And yeah, you know, so these are the arguments that we have, because I can't speak to you for what's truly going to actually be the thing that gets you selling your luxury high-end products. I can't truly speak to you, Paula, about, you know, a platform that's definitely gonna work, that's gonna make sure that you can, you know, have your pick of where you wanna work, when you wanna work, because you can work from home, because you have consulting clients, or you might take a part-time contracting role, because you have the freedom to make those choices. But I do know, definitely, that all of you, including myself, are not yet operating and executing at the level that you should be in your lives in terms of the activities. And none of these things take time, right? They take 15, it took me, cool, Upwork, listing a profile, probably take you 60 minutes. Let's call them 60 minutes per platform. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have an 8-hour day there, my friends. Thinking about it will probably take you 1 year, right? But oh, I've been meaning to try Shopify to set up my e-commerce platform. Oh great, have you tried it? Well, I'm comparing it against PrestaShop or have you fucking tried it? Well, oh my God, there's this story that we tell ourselves, right? Have you done this? You know, the arguments and the conversations that we have with ourselves and others. So this was my first step, listing on all of these profiles. As you go deeper, then there's a case of how do you optimize your profile such that they can actually make money for you. Because I'm sure, is there anyone in this room who's thinking, I tried that Deepak, it didn't work. I know I tried Angel and it did not work for me. I got fucking banned from the platform, it worked so badly. I was like, great, amazing. So as you start, one action will lead to another. Right, very quickly when I was on Gumtree, for example, one of the first things that I did was like, great, I generated some money. Then I very quickly began looking at anyone who had a featured advert. I thought, if you're paying additional money to be on Gumtree, you must be making more money than you're paying, otherwise you're an idiot. And I don't think you're an idiot, because I've been an idiot, because I was never even on Gumtree in the first place. So what are you doing that I'm not? What is in your profile that isn't in mine? So then I very quickly began to take that second approach, where I was like, right, let's look at all of the best profiles on all of these platforms, and let's start taking anything that I can, data. Let's take that, let's try that, let's take that, let's try that. I was able, within 2 months probably, 6 weeks, to put in £28 for ads, £7 an ad it was, in London, Birmingham, Manchester, and generate probably 2 to 3 grand a month. Because I was able to figure out who was placing the best ads, how to copy them, and then make them better, and really spent my time focusing on where I could make the money. Hey, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to understand, maybe I missed that in the beginning, what is that tutoring business that you're doing? Because some of these platforms may be applicable to one,
sure,
but not to the other.
Sure.
And I just wanted to understand, so if you're saying that you made this much money, 6 figures, because of your advertising in Upwork, what is it? Because you have to put in the actual work to be able to generate that kind of income.
Yep.
But what you're saying is that how you generated those leads is through these platforms, and that actually contributed to the income that you made.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. It's a great question. So the question basically is, you know, can this apply for any business? How did you actually do the delivery? And what does that look like? So we will go on to talk a little bit about delivery. What I will say right now on that note is that the biggest problem that people often fail with is pipeline. I have something that I can do, but I've got no one to sell it to. Or I don't have consistent enough chances to improve my operations to actually develop the business. So at that time, I didn't have a single tutor. I didn't have anyone on my books, but I thought, well, I've got no bloody clients anyway, so I can go and tutor myself. This is often how a freelancing role starts, right? You understand how to build your own pipeline, you develop a regular stream or a stream of clients, and then you get trapped in the kind of operational part of it, and then you think, well, how can I get more clients, how can I grow, and how can I transition into being a business? So what most people fail with is that they don't work aggressively enough to build a robust pipeline. If you're relying on one phone call that you've got on a Thursday with Sam to sign a big manufacturing deal, then your problem isn't that you F up that deal, because believe you me, you can read every strategy that you want, you will still F up deals all the time for God knows whatever reason. Your problem is that you don't have enough Sams to get better at the call, to get better at the delivery. Because if you have Sam, Alan, George, Frank, Toby, then either Sam, Alan, Frank, George or Toby, one of them will probably work because you'll adjust. And they'll ask, and then once you get into the operational part of your service, you'll quickly get better as a service. So I can definitely tell you that I wasn't one of the best tutoring agencies out there. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had no real sense of it, but what I became really good at was developing a pipeline. And because I had a really good pipeline, you then develop the opportunity to operationally improve very quickly, because you will get found out if you're not good at what you do. And you will get tired of either being told that that wasn't good enough, or I'm going to leave you a bad review, or I'm not going to leave you a good review because I don't trust you anymore. So this is the next part that I'm going to come to now. There's more. Some of you are thinking, oh Deepak, I've got this goodness. What's next? Oh, I want more. Hopefully that's what you're thinking. So now I want to talk about scaling trust, right? Because one of the things that you probably might think is, Deepak, I've got no background in the industry that I'm in, or Deepak, no one will trust me because I've not had that much experience or client testimony, or has everyone thought or had some version of this in their mind? I know I have sometimes, that you've had fearfulness of being found out, imposter syndrome, or thinking how's it going to work? So the next thing that I quickly began doing was figuring out how can I have people that don't know me, because I want to sell online. I want to sell to someone in California, I want to sell to someone in Kansas, and I want to get them to send me, £5,000-10,000 per month, or 3,000, whatever it might be. They're going to need to trust me, right? So that business, as you're probably wondering, was something that I transitioned out of, because tutoring at that time, hey Adina's brother, been looking forward to meeting you, wasn't something that I saw as being my legacy, right? And the legacy thing is something that we can kind of talk about at the end, what is it that's my dream? The tutoring agency was a hustle. I was like, I got these dreams, but I need to make some money, because if I can't pay my bills, then my dream becomes redundant. Does that make sense to anybody? That we do have aspirations, whether it be to write a book, whether, all of us, for example, want to help humanity in some way, right? We all want to give back. The practical problem though, is that we all too broke to really worry about getting to that stage, so we focus upon a business. Nigel, hey, hello mate, sorry, I was like, that's going to really help take us to the next level. So what I quickly discovered was that how can I, now that I've kind of got a pipeline, because I'm on those platforms, right? I'm getting leads from Gumtree. I've tried Craigslist. Craigslist was really interesting. I'm still doing some flyering, but I'm getting bored of flyering, because why the fuck would I get on a bus when I can pay for a featured advert on Gumtree and I make like a 15x return, right? So these are the thoughts that were going through my head. Now the next problem that I had was I had a conversion problem. Some of them were like, well, Deepak, I'm going to go with Paula because Paula's been in education for 10 years and she's done this and that, and you just seem like some bloke who's a nice guy, but you rocked up and I don't know who the fuck you are. And I don't. So this is the problem that often sometimes some of us have, that we do have people to speak to, but then we don't convert them into a client. So you're probably everyone's probably looked at all of these. Everyone's probably either made a mental note and been like, okay, I already know them, or I've taken a picture, or I'm gonna write them down later. Then I began to think about, well, I do help people with that, and I do give advice in some way. So therefore, why can't I get reviews from people that I do know? They don't necessarily have to give me money in exchange for my review. Anyone done an internship? I've done an internship. Perfect. Okay, so internships are resume builders, would we agree? Mm-hmm. Internships generally, you get treated like a tool a little bit. You learn some things along the way, but invariably it's about the prestige that comes with it, potentially an offer of some future job or offer of a future job after. And it's all about resume building. So I thought, how can I build my resume? So I began then I began very quickly to offer a free 10-minute consultation, and I'd say, I'll do an hour for you for free. Can you leave me a Google review? I'd be like, yeah, fine. Can you leave me a Facebook review? Yeah, fine. So fast forward to today, and that idea that I took about how can I scale trust online was the agency that I run today. We're an SEO agency. If you look this up, we are the only agency with over 100 reviews online. You do not see SEO agencies with 60 Google reviews. We have 58, right? That was not an accident. That was very extremely purposeful. And the reason scaling trust is so important because it helps you close a deal. It helps you close any deal that you're in because they already walk in thinking, you know what, you're the man. All I'm gonna negotiate with you is the price point, but I am sold on you. Does that make sense? I'm sold on you when you walked in through the room because I looked you up online, I checked you out, and you seem like you're the bomb and your luxury hair products seem really good. So that's the kind of conversation that we wanna have, right? And I found that this was really some of the fastest ways to help me with that journey. And then I began to find out that people would begin to contact me directly. I want an SEO client from Trustpilot. Who knew? They were like, I only look on Trustpilot because I want to see what people say about you, and you sound like you're a pretty good guy at what you do, so therefore I called you. That was fascinating to me. My tutoring agency, and the only I got a call today, for someone who wanted to hire a tutor from Gobsmackers, because we're still listed on Yale, and there's some mothers who just go onto Yale and they just look up tutor. Maths tutor. So when you begin thinking about the way that people actually navigate their journeys online, 80% of life they say is about showing up, right? Guys, show up on these platforms. Who here has ever incorporated or started a business website of some kind online? You know, like gobsmackers.co.uk. I can't be the only one. Right, perfect. Keep your hands up if you have registered a website ever. Everyone, keep your hands up. Right, perfect. We're going to play the same game. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Paul is up. I don't want to keep my hand up, Deepak. Jesus Christ. This is going to be fast, I promise you. So the question that I want to ask is, keep your hand up only if you can consecutively, not independently, consecutively say yes. Keep your hands up if you've had a website and you've listed on Trustpilot. Oh wow, that's fucking easy. Jesus Christ. Does this make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah? Does it make any sense? You feel free to say no. Call me out on my BS, please. Call me out and say, Deepak, no, you're talking SHIT. I should just say it, shouldn't I? You're talking shit, mate. What are you talking about? Hey, Jin.
What is Trustpilot?
Great question. Okay, perfect. Does what it says on the tin. It's a platform for building trusted reviews. It's very useful because it ranks highly in Google. So I know a couple of people that have their own individual sites, and their own Trustpilot platform will rank above their own website, and it's really cool. So if you Googled Pearl Lemon, you'll see Trustpilot's page 1, and it'll also give you what I call the stars and stripes in your Google search. So when people Google Pearl Lemon, right, which is this one here, Pearl Lemon, they just see motherfucking stars and stripes everywhere. And everyone's lazy, so no one really gets into the depth of the reviews, but the fact is they're there, and they will help me close deals, because people just trust me. Does that make sense?
So is it a UK website? Or
No, .com. You can. There's businesses anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's business anywhere. So Trustpilot, Facebook reviews, Google My Biz, Yale and Yelp. Please do also, if you look at these platforms, Google Trustpilot alternative, Facebook review alternative, and you'll probably 10x this list, because I don't know where your win will come from. You might absolutely kill it on Yelp. I did well on Yelp. I never made a dime off Yelp. There's other businesses that pay for featured ads on Yelp. They must be making money. Does that make sense? Cool. So the final thing that we're going to go on to talk about, before we come to the Q&A, by the way, because I'm excited to see what questions I get, is the part of, this is probably the part that a lot of people ask, Deepak, how can I charge a premium fee for my service or my product? How can I go from someone on Gumtree who will say, mate, I got 50 quid for my CV. I've got a guy called Hamoud, a really nice guy. So I sometimes show people how to use Gumtree when I talk about work and stuff. So I put an ad up on Gumtree about a week or two back, and I get a call. He's like, hey Deepak. I was like, hey. He's like, do you do CVs? I was like, yeah, I do. So I was like, fuck it, why not? And he's like, okay, cool. I've got, how much do you charge? I was like, 150 quid, mate. He was like, but I've only got £30. And I was like, I appreciate your £30, but I'm not sure that this is going to be a good fit for us. He's like, oh, okay. This guy has been calling me for a couple of days in a row, right? He called me today, and we finally closed the deal for like £100 when he saw that I was not going to budge, okay? So Gumtree gets you work. All of these platforms get you work, and you will be surprised where your wins come from. You're like, Deepak, I can't believe it. I got some work from Yelp. Who knew? And I'll be like, fucking amazing. I made no money from Yelp, but you have to show up, right? You have to show up on these platforms in all of those spaces, because until you do that, I will call BS on what you call your so-called activities to try and generate business. I'll be like, well, the data tells me otherwise. So the reason that I was able to scale him up from 30 to 100 quid, and the reason I've been able to correspondingly do that today with, for example, like my SEO agency, you know, we started a year and a half ago, and I was charging 200-300 quid because I wanted to get money through the door because it was a new business. We're now at a stage where our best paying clients pay £5,000 per month. I'm now in the process of trying to kill some of the old clients, try and bring in new clients, and that will pay that premium. And that's the stage that I'm at, right? That's where I'm at. And what's interesting is the mechanics don't change. I built a pipeline. I understood what was lacking with my sales pitch. I recognized that I needed to scale my authenticity online, and then to actually get the premium rate, it probably had to be people that approach me rather than me approaching them. Maybe. If you approach me, you know, Deepak, I need help with SEO. I know you've got a budget because you wouldn't ask me otherwise. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, brilliant.